What up, people? It's your boy Chig from Gooner Eagle Eye coming to you again with a brand new review of Swansea versus Arsenal. First things first, let me apologise for the belatedness of this review. It was meant to take place last night, but essentially I had a couple of technical issues, and hence why I'm now doing this review on Sunday instead of yesterday. Secondly, let me also take the opportunity to thank Colin from Much Arsenal channel. If you're not already subscribed to it or you don't know what the channel is, just type Much Arsenal on YouTube. And yes, he will be the very interesting character, shall we say. When I say interesting character, I can almost guarantee you've seen him on something and thought, blimey, who is this guy and why is he being so negative? That will be Colin. So I love him. But so it was good having him. We had a good review actually yesterday. So yeah, if you've not yet heard some of my thoughts, I did display them on that channel a little bit. But if you've not heard them, hear my ones first and then go and check out Colin's channel. So yeah. Colin's channel gives just you more of an instant reaction thoughts that I had because I did his review. It was like 2 hours removed from the actual game, whereas now I've had a little bit of time to kind of dilute Arsenal's game a little bit. I also have a habit of watching the game and then watching Match of the Day just to see if, not necessarily because I could care less about Alan Shearer or anyone else's opinion on Arsenal's performance, but more if they picked up on any kind of patterns that I hadn't, or vice versa. So yeah, so I've had a little chance to kind of sit on it and just kind of give an idea of what I think and how I felt we performed. All in all, I thought in the end the performance was a good one. In the end, let's have it right. The first half was a poor first half. I felt like we just didn't get going at all. I don't know what's going on with us lately. It seems like at the moment, every first half we have, we're not starting well. We're not starting quickly, and you do worry. We've got Chelsea in a few weeks' time. You do worry if we keep doing this. It's not even a few weeks, it's in a couple of weeks' time. So if we keep doing this, what's going to happen when we play Chelsea at Stamford Bridge, no less, in a game where if we have any ambition left to win this league, we have to win. We just have to keep winning and asking questions at the moment. That's our entire remit. Our entire remit should be, and now we as a fan group could think that, you know, let's be honest, we have no chance of this. It's Chelsea's league to lose. But we as a bunch of, them as a bunch of players, their entire remit must be ask questions, put pressure, ask questions. Because that's all we can do. That is literally all we can do. So I think with that said, the only thing I do like is that I suppose if you had to ask me, well, what would I prefer? For us to start well then slow down, or to not start well and to finish strong? I don't know, it's a hard one because obviously there's horrible points to both sides of the equation. I guess I prefer us to finish strong. Having said that, you can still lose a game in the opening 30 to 45 minutes of any football match. We almost saw that against Bournemouth. And a game which, all right, it was a good comeback, but we still lost something from that game. We still lost very valuable 2 points from that game. And now we're in a situation where we're behind these idiots. In fact, we are still behind them because they won yesterday, didn't they? So yeah, we're still behind these idiots and we're behind Chelsea. So it's the kind of position that I would have liked us to have been in. But having said that, as things stand, this is right before the two key games today. We are sitting there enjoying third place, and we just got to keep asking questions. And I think yesterday's end performance, or shall I say, eventual performance, at least displayed what Arsenal are capable of. What was pleasing yesterday, in spite of all the injury concerns that we do have, is when Giroud came off with that injury, which I hope is not a bad one because he is on fire at the moment, scored again yesterday, is you looked at our bench and thought, blimey, we got some options. Like, we had Perez on the bench, we had Welbeck on the bench. In terms of an attacking player, you still had Ox on the bench. You had Theo yet to come back. So we've really got some talent. We've really got a talented squad. I just wish we could get our shit together so we could put some pressure on some of these fools. But all in all, I felt like we finished strong. And for me, I'm a super eagle. You guys know this. So I was very, very proud of Alex Iwobi's performance, which, if we're being fair, in the first half, it wasn't brilliant, but neither was any of the team. None of the team were that good. Only Alexis was trying to do something. But I think in the second half, everybody raised their level, and especially him. And although he technically did not score, both of those own goals came because of his persistence, his harrying, his efforts, and his two shots. So I'm happy for Iwobi because I think he needed this performance. He needed to remind people why Wenger starts him. And I think the thing that I try to convey in Colin's channel is a thing I've said to you guys before, but I'll say it again. In spite of this performance, I would like Wenger to protect him a little bit more. And I think that kind of coincides with my calls for starting Perez. So I was a bit surprised to see Iwobi starting yesterday. It was probably the only change. Obviously, after learning about Bellerin's injury, it was pretty much the same team as what I called for. I just felt like Perez deserved to start. That would have been the only change that I would have personally made, even in spite of Iwobi's performance, because I'd be very keen on protecting Iwobi and using him sparingly and taking him out of the limelight a little bit, because I think people are almost taking Iwobi starting for granted, so they're criticizing him in the way they would criticize a Ramsey, for example. And he's a young player, and I think Wenger just has a responsibility to protect him a little bit more than he already does. That said, performed very, very well. Caused a lot of problems, particularly in the second half. Just running at clearly a very tired, very poor Swansea defence. And created 2 own goals out of it. So I can't complain, really. I cannot complain too much because we did get the 3 points and we did perform well in the second half. If I had to go through my 1 to 11, I'd give Czech a 7 out of 10. Made a couple of really good saves in the first half, and finally got himself a clean sheet. And yeah, I thought was great. I thought his distribution had gotten a lot better as well. Clearly, he's working on that side of his game. So yeah, 7 out of 10. Right back was Gabriel, who came in for Bellerin today. I think Bellerin has a knock. I thought Gabriel actually did pretty well, to be fair. Remembering it's not his position, but kept running that up and down that right-hand side pretty well. Can't cross for shit, and it didn't really particularly attempt any crosses, but I thought he did reasonably well. And I'd give him a 7 out of 10. Mustafi, I'm worried about because I don't think he played well yesterday, in spite of the clean sheet. Only because we got a clean sheet, I'll give him a 6 out of 10. If we hadn't, he'd get more like a 4. I don't think he had a great game. I really don't. And I think I'm going to preface that with my next mark, and that's for Koscielny, who I believe tied it up a lot for Mustafi. And I think it probably shows why they're a good partnership, but Mustafi's performances do worry me a little bit. So I would probably give Koscielny an 8 out of 10. I thought he tied it up for Mustafi's mistakes quite a lot yesterday. It worries me because he did struggle against Llorente, and the indications from Chelsea is that they could sort this Costa thing out sooner rather than later. So if Costa starts bullying Mustafi the way Llorente does, which surprised me because I always thought that was probably the stronger part of Mustafi's game, was his physical strength. But if Llorente is doing that to him, what the hell is Costa going to do to Mustafi? I know Mustafi handled him early in the season, but I don't know. Mustafi just needs to up his game. So, but I'd give Koscielny an 8. I thought he played like a captain. 8 out of 10. And fair play, Monreal looks like I don't know what dip he had early in the season. Unfortunately for Gibbs, because now Gibbs is back. But whatever it is, Monreal looks like he sorted it. Considering he was up against Barrow, I believe, the same guy who last year gave him a lot of problems. But I actually thought he was great and played as well as Koscielny did, to be honest. So I'd give him an 8 out of 10. In the middle, so this will be interesting. So I would probably give a Ramsey. I don't think he did enough for a 7. I'd give him a 6, and I'd give Xhaka a 6. And I'll explain my marks. I still don't think Xhaka was that great, but he didn't do anything particularly wrong. Hit a couple of nice passes. Wouldn't necessarily say he controlled the midfield, but I thought he was nice enough and cute enough. I still expect to see more out of Xhaka. I'm not really sure what's going on there. Having said that, he is playing a slightly different role, given the fact that he's playing more of an anchor role now, instead of a kind of a role where, instead of playing the Ramsey role, which I think is the role he prefers to play. So I'm a little bit more forgiving and probably a little bit more understanding of his mindset. And in terms of Ramsey was more or less Ramsey. The only thing is that he didn't give the ball away half as much as he normally does. So I'll give him that credit. Had an opportunity to score, should have scored. But other than that, what can you say? You guys know I don't like Ramsey. I'm not a particularly big fan of Ramsey, but I'll give the devil his due. He didn't fuck up. So that's progress. So I'll give him a 6 out of 10. Which way do we go? So on the left-hand side, Mr. Alexis, I thought was great. Ran at defenders a lot. Was always trying. Even in the first half, was probably the only player that looked like he got a first shot on target, for example, and was a constant threat, as he always is for Arsenal, trying to make something happen. With Alexis, it's just a case of when he signs his contract. I hope he signs his contract. I hope he signs his contract. We're all thinking it. We hope it will happen soon. But aside from that, I thought he was great. Got himself a goal. And yeah, I've got no complaints. I'd give him an 8 out of 10. But by the way, people are going to ask me about Alexis' stroppiness. Yes, I would love to see it stop because I think it creates. While he hasn't signed his contract, people always take a deep breath whenever they see Alexis being stroppy, and it gives the media a chance to write stupid stories like, "Oh, you can see he's not happy because look at the way he wore his coat over his head." Personally, whilst I do worry every day, and I did say this on College Channel, that I do worry he'll go. I don't necessarily think that the two are related in terms of him being strong. It's just Alexis, he's just a bit petulant when it comes to being subbed off or being left out of the team. He loves playing football. It's the thing we love about him the most. It's just the thing that also can show him to be a little bit petulant sometimes. And I, as a fan, would love to see that stop. But I also I wish I could bottle his passion for football and put it into someone like Ramsey or like Ozil, who I'm going to get onto now, who I think splits people in terms of his performance yesterday. I thought it was okay. I don't think it was anything particularly spectacular. Showed a couple of nice touches, had decent influences here and there on a couple of the goals. He didn't get any assists back. I'm going to use a term that I know Lee Gunner will hate me for, but he did get a couple of pre-assists. I can already hear him cursing me out. But he did he did show a couple of nice touches. I still want to see more from Mesut. I still want to see more from him. I feel like a 6 is too harsh, so I'll give him a 7 out of 10. I thought he did okay. And then Iwobi, who I thought was man of the match, I'll give him a 9 out of 10. I thought his influence was great. And yeah, he basically just ran all over the Swans, quite frankly. 9 out of 10. Unlucky not to get his goal, really. Both goals got taken off him and were given his own goals. But aside from that, I thought was great. 9 out of 10. And then Juru, who I'm hoping his injury isn't too bad. Apparently has an ankle knock. What that means, we won't know. But he did well enough in the first half. We did score in the first half. I'm making it sound like we did score. We did score in the first half. And Juru is on fire at the moment. That's literally, I think he's got like 13 goals from 18 shots, which is fantastic. What can you say? It's fantastic. So he's killing it at the moment. So I'd give him an 8 out of 10. I thought he played great. And Juru scores important goals. I keep telling people. He scores important goals. I can't criticize Juru. You won't see me criticize him because he is what he is, and what he does, what he is very, very good in terms of being in the air, holding up the ball. That's what you're going to get out of Juru. And if we play to his strengths more, what a player we have in our hands. What a player. 8 out of 10. In terms of the substitutes, I don't really think any of them had that much of an impact. So Perez, Ox, and Welbeck, I guess you've got to give them a 5. I don't think any of them particularly had a dramatic impact. And as for the manager, I'm going to assume it's his influence. I'm going to assume it's his influence on the players every time he gets them in at half time and he gives them a bit of a rollicking and they come out stronger. So for that reason, I'll give him a 7 out of 10. It does worry me that we're not starting games quickly. And what I'd like, particularly going into the Burnley game, is for us to go into that game determined and to go into it quickly. So let's see what happens. Sorry, this video went on a little bit longer than I wanted it to. Sorry about that. If you do like this video, do like it, thumb it up for me, spread the word. Also, if you're listening to me for the first time, please just hit that subscribe button for me. Also, if you are on Twitter and you're not following me, get over on Twitter and give me a follow. I'm at Colossal Chig, all one word, CHIG, Colossal Chig. And you can give me a follow. And I usually pin up my most latest kind of episodes of videos that I do on there. All right, people, I'm out of here. I don't think I feel like we do, but I don't think we got a midweek game. I'm probably thinking about, maybe we have like an FA Cup tie and I've forgotten it. If we do, I'll do a video. If not, then I know our next Premier League game is Burnley at home, so I'll definitely do a preview for that. So you guys keep an eye out. In the meantime, that's enough of my rabbiting over. I'm out of here to watch the 2 important games today. I've missed about 10 minutes already, so I'm out of here. All right, people, take care. Peace.